What if the person who betrayed you was the reason you eventually won? This is the story of two men. One had no degree, no connections, no office, just two hands, a sharp mind, and a roadside in Abuja. The other had a university certificate, good English, and 5 years of rejection, slowly turning him into someone he never planned to be. One trusted the other completely, and the other made a choice he could never take back. This is a story about betrayal, about skill, about what happens when the world tries to bury something that was never meant to stay underground. Stay with me, because this one is going to hit.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, you are highly welcome. This channel brings you powerful African stories that teach deep life lessons. Please don't forget to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss any amazing story like this. Now, let's begin. The sun in Abuja does not apologize. By 8 in the morning, it is already pressing down on everything. The red dust on the roads, the Okada riders weaving through traffic, the market women calling out from both sides of the street. And right there, crouched beside a battered Toyota Camry, his hands black with grease, his eyes sharp and focused, was a man named Tunde. Tunde Adeyemi, 28 years old. No university degree, no certificate, no title, no office. What he had was a toolbox, a mind that worked like a machine, and two hands that could bring dead engines back to life. His workshop was not a building, it was a space, a patch of roadside in Mararaba, with old tires stacked to one side, a tarpaulin for shade, and tools arranged with the kind of care that a professor gives his books. People underestimated Tunde, always. They saw the dusty singlet, the worn-out slippers, the hands that were never fully clean. But the moment Tunde opened a car bonnet and started talking, explaining what was wrong, how it happened, what it would take to fix, something changed in the people around him. They leaned in. Even men in suits, even people who drove cars that cost millions, they would stand there, nodding slowly, because they could feel it. This man knew something. He had taught himself everything. From age 13, watching mechanics in his father's compound in Kogi State, asking questions no one else asked, reading old technical manuals from a roadside bookseller, practicing on broken machines that others had thrown away. By 17, motorcycles. By 20, full engine repairs. By 25, people were traveling from other streets just to find him. If Tunde cannot fix it, they said, then it is time to buy a new car. But here is the painful part. Despite all of this, despite the talent, the reputation, the years of work, Tunde's life was not comfortable. He made enough to eat, enough to pay rent for his small one room, enough to send a little back home to his mother in Kogi, but not enough to grow. Every day felt the same. Every month, the same cycle. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. And sometimes, late at night, when the city finally went quiet, Tunde would lie on his mattress, stare at the ceiling, and ask himself the question that kept coming back. Is this really all there is for me? Now, not far from Tunde's spot, in a small one-room apartment in the same neighborhood, lived a man named Emeka. Emeka Okofo, 31 years old. He had a university degree, business administration, from a school in Enugu, and he had been jobless for 5 years. 5 years of applications, 5 years of interviews, 5 years of "we'll get back to you," 5 years of connections that led nowhere, emails that were never answered,
and a certificate that was supposed to open doors but had opened nothing. Emeka and Tunde had become friends the way neighbors do in a tight community. Slowly, casually, through shared meals and small favors. Tunde would ask Emeka to help type something or translate a document. Emeka would ask Tunde to check a fault on a friend's car. They were not deep friends, but they were friendly. But inside Emeka, something was changing. 5 years of rejection does something to a person. It builds up quietly, like pressure in a pipe that nobody is watching. He had done everything society told him to do. He had gone to school, he had studied, he had graduated, and still, nothing. Every time he saw someone without a degree doing better than him, something tightened in his chest. Every time someone said, "At least you have your certificate," he wanted to scream. He didn't say any of this out loud. He barely admitted it to himself. But there was something growing inside him. A quiet, dangerous voice that said, "The world owes me. And if the world won't give it to me fairly, maybe I take it another way." He didn't listen to that voice. Not yet. It was a Tuesday. The kind of Tuesday that changes your life without any warning. A black SUV pulled up beside Tunde's spot. The engine was knocking badly, a deep, uneven sound that told Tunde immediately what the problem was. The driver stepped out, looking worried, and from the passenger seat stepped a man in a well-cut grey suit, calm, composed, the kind of man whose shoes alone cost more than Tunde's monthly rent. His name was Mr. Tunde Ojo, head of operations at Tech Bridge Nigeria Limited, one of Abuja's fastest growing engineering and infrastructure companies. Tunde went to work. He didn't rush, he didn't perform. He simply opened the bonnet, listened, touched, tested, and within 7 minutes had identified the fault. A failing valve seal, a loose timing belt tensioner. He explained it clearly, simply, like a teacher who has explained the same thing 100 times and still cares about getting it right. The driver nodded blankly, but Mr. Ojo, standing a few steps back, hands in his pockets, was listening to something else entirely. He wasn't listening to the grammar. Tunde's English was rough and basic. He was listening to the thinking behind it, the way Tunde organized the problem, the way he moved from cause to effect, the confidence, the precision, the complete total absence of guesswork. Mr. Ojo walked closer. "How long have you been doing this?" Tunde looked up, slightly surprised. Big men in suits didn't usually ask him personal questions. "Since I be small, sir, maybe 15 years. Did you study engineering anywhere?" "No, sir. I just learned by myself, watching, reading, doing." 20 minutes later, the car was fixed. The knocking was gone. The engine breathed smoothly again. Mr. Ojo paid more than the standard rate without being asked. And then before he got back in the car, he turned and said something that would change everything. "You are too intelligent to be spending your life on this roadside. My company is hiring a technical trainee, entry level, but real room to grow. I want you to apply." He held out a card. Tunde took it. His hands were still black with grease. The card was spotless and white. After the SUV drove away, Tunde stood there and read the card slowly. He felt something move in his chest. Hope, yes, but also fear. Because he already knew the problem. He couldn't do this alone. That evening, Tunde went to find Emeka. He told him everything. The man in the suit, the job, the website, the deadline, Friday. He showed Emeka the card. Emeka read it slowly. "This is a big company," he said quietly. "I know," said Tunde. "That's why I need you. Help me write the application, the letter, proper English." I will tell you everything about myself. You just help me put it the right way." Emeka looked at him for a long moment. Then he smiled. "No problem," he said. "I go help you." And Tunde smiled back. He was relieved, grateful. He did not see what was happening behind Emeka's eyes. That night, Emeka sat in front of his laptop. Tunde had talked for almost an hour. His years of experience, his self-taught knowledge, his problem-solving approach, his passion. Emeka had written it all down. And as he sat there looking at it, something crept in, slowly, like smoke under a door. "This man can't speak good English. Even if I submit this for him, they will call him for interview and he'll struggle. He won't get it. This opportunity will be wasted. But me, I have a degree, I can interview, I can learn the technical side. Why should this go to waste?" He opened a new document. He took everything Tunde had told him, every story, every experience, every achievement, and he rewrote it, polished it, made it shine. And where Tunde's name should have been, he typed his own, Emeka Okafor. He submitted the application before midnight. Then he closed the laptop and lay in the dark. He told himself it made sense. He told himself Tunde wouldn't have gotten it anyway. He told himself he was the better candidate. He told himself a lot of things, but he could not sleep. The next day, Tunde asked him, "You submit am?" "Yes," Emeka said, without blinking. "Everything go well. Just wait." Tunde nodded, grateful, and went back to his tools. 3 weeks later, Emeka got the interview. He was smooth. He was prepared. He wore the right shirt, said the right things, and used Tunde's stories, word for word, in better English. He got the job. Company car, clean office, air conditioning, a salary, a title. Technical operations trainee, Tech Bridge Nigeria Limited. Meanwhile, Tunde waited. Every few days, "Emeka, them never call." "These things take time. Big companies, their process is slow." Weeks became a month. A month became 2. Eventually, Tunde stopped asking. He told himself it wasn't meant to be. He didn't know the truth. Then came a Friday afternoon that Tunde would never forget. He had been called to fix a car at a building across town, a clean, well-kept building in a nice part of Abuja, the kind of area where Tunde was only noticed when something needed fixing. He finished the job, wiped his hands, and turned toward the gate. A company car pulled up smoothly. The door opened, and out stepped Emeka. Blue shirt, dark trousers, clean shoes, a company lanyard around his neck, speaking on the phone with the calm, easy confidence of a man who belonged exactly where he was. He didn't see Tunde at first. He walked toward the entrance, nodding at the security man, disappearing through the glass door. Tunde stood completely still. The traffic noise faded. The heat faded. Everything faded. He understood everything, all at once, not slowly, all at once. He did not shout. He did not run forward. He did not confront. He just stood there, holding his toolbox, and felt something move through him that had no single name. Pain, shame, rage, grief, and underneath all of that, deep and quiet and steady, something that looked almost like resolve. He turned, walked back to the road, went home, sat on his mattress, stared at the ceiling, then picked up his old technical manual and continued reading from where he had stopped. Let that breathe. Don't rush. Emeka's first few months at Tech Bridge were manageable. His job was mostly meetings, reports, coordination, things he could handle. He dressed well, he spoke well, he smiled at the right times. But around the 4th month, the real work started arriving. Complex technical problems, engineering decisions, real faults that needed real knowledge. And it became clear, slowly, then quickly, that Emeka's technical understanding was surface thin. He could talk engineering, he had learned enough vocabulary to sound confident in a meeting, but when a real problem appeared in front of him, he froze. He delayed, he delegated. He hoped someone below him would figure it out so he could present the answer as his own. His colleagues noticed, his managers noticed, and eventually Mr. Ojo noticed. The performance review got cooler. A project failed. The emails got longer and more complicated, which is always a sign that someone is working very hard to sound competent instead of being competent. Emeka could feel it coming. The crack, the fall. He just didn't know when. The crisis came on a Wednesday morning. Tech Bridge had just landed their biggest contract, maintaining the systems of a large facility outside Abuja. Their reputation was on the line. Then, the facility's main industrial cooling system failed, completely, suddenly. The maintenance team tried everything. An external company came and left, saying the fault was beyond them. Mr. Ojo turned to his operations team. He turned to Emeka. "What is your assessment?" Emeka looked at the diagrams on the table. He looked at the reports. He used every technical word he had collected over the past months. He could not solve it. 3 days passed. The problem remained. The pressure was building. It was a junior staff member who mentioned it, almost casually. "There is a mechanic in Mararaba. I took my car to him last year. Honestly, the way that man understands machines, I've never seen anything like it. I know it sounds like a stretch, but..." Mr. Ojo looked at him, then said quietly, "Bring him." When Tunde received the call, he almost didn't believe it. A company in Abuja wanted him to come look at a technical problem. He wore his cleanest clothes, not a suit, he didn't own one, clean trousers, a plain shirt, his tools in a small bag because he never went anywhere without them. The driver picked him up and took him to a building he had seen many times from the road but never entered. He was walked through air-conditioned corridors, past glass-walled offices, and into a boardroom where several people sat around a large table covered in engineering drawings and printed reports. At the head of the table sat a man in a grey suit, a man Tunde recognized immediately. Mr. Ojo looked up and paused, just for a moment. The roadside mechanic from Mararaba. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Please, sit." Tunde sat. And across the room, standing near the wall, was Emeka. Their eyes met. Emeka's face moved through shock, then guilt, then fear, and then a desperate attempt to look normal. Tunde looked at him for exactly 3 seconds, then looked away. "Tell me the problem," he said. They explained everything. The diagrams, the failed attempts, the pressure. Tunde listened without interrupting, then said, "Can I see the machine itself?" They took him to the facility. He walked around the cooling unit slowly, crouched down, pressed his ear close to one section, asked for a torch, and examined something behind a panel, then stood up. "Your compressor is fine," he said. "The problem is not there. You have a blockage in the refrigerant line, here, combined with a failed expansion valve. The pressure built up and caused a secondary fault in the electrical control board. That's why nothing you tried worked. You are solving the wrong problem." One of the engineers looked at the drawings, then at the machine, then back at Tunde. "He's right," the engineer said slowly. "How did we not?" "Because you start from the theory," Tunde said simply. "When you start from the machine, it tells you." The fix took 4 hours. By end of day, the system was running perfectly. Mr. Ojo watched it all. That evening, in his office, he called Tunde in. He asked a simple question. "I told you to apply for a role here. Did you apply?" Tunde was quiet. "I tried," he said, "but it didn't work out." Something in Mr. Ojo's eyes sharpened. Tell me exactly what happened. And Tunde told him, calmly, without drama, just the facts. The conversation with Emeka, the trust, the weeks of waiting, the Friday afternoon when he saw his friend step out of a company car in front of this building. Mr. Ojo was very still while he listened. When Tunde finished, Mr. Ojo stood and walked to the window for a long time. Then he called his assistant. Send Emeka in. Emeka walked in and saw Tunde, and the entire structure of his lie collapsed in his chest. He tried to find words. He tried to explain. Mr. Ojo let him speak, then placed on the table the original CV, the one Emeka had submitted. He read sections out loud, the experiences, the mechanical stories, the language of a man who thought with his hands. This is not your experience, Mr. Ojo said, calm, final. Emeka's shoulders dropped. A long, heavy silence. I was desperate, Emeka finally said. The confidence was completely gone now. What remained was something raw and broken. 5 years. I did everything right, and nothing worked. When I saw this, I told myself he wouldn't get it anyway. You told yourself a story that gave you permission to do something you already knew was wrong. Emeka had no answer. He sat in that room and felt 5 years of frustration and 1 night of betrayal pressing down on him at the same time.
The next morning, Emeka was dismissed. Quietly, no drama. Misrepresentation in the application process. Fraud. He handed back his ID, his access card, and the keys to the company car. He took a bus home, sat in his one-room apartment, looked at his degree certificate on the wall, and for the first time in years, he cried. Not just about the job, but about the man he had become in one moment of desperation. About what he had done to someone who trusted him. And somewhere across the city, Tunde was sitting in Mr. Ojo's office one more time. I want to offer you a position, Mr. Ojo said. Not entry level. Technical specialist, working directly with our engineers on complex problems. We will sponsor your professional certification. There is real room to grow here. Tunde looked at him. Why? He asked simply. Mr. Ojo smiled, a real smile. Because yesterday, you walked into a room full of qualified engineers and solved in 4 hours what they couldn't solve in 4 days. And you did it without making anyone feel small. That is rare, Tunde. More rare than a certificate. More rare than smooth talking. Tunde thought about his mother. He thought about his mattress and the ceiling he had stared at so many nights. He thought about the white card in his greasy hands. He thought about a man he had called his friend. Then he said, I accept, but I have one condition. Mr. Ojo raised an eyebrow. I want to keep my roadside spot, at least on weekends. Why? Tunde smiled quietly. Because the people on that road still need somebody. 1 year later, Tunde had a desk, a small desk in a shared office, a laptop, an engineering manual, a toolkit in the drawer for when he needed to think with his hands. He was halfway through his professional certification, moving faster than anyone expected. The engineers who had looked at him with polite uncertainty now came to him with questions. His English had gotten better. Not perfect, not yet, but he had stopped being afraid of it. Because confidence in what you know gives you patience with what you are still learning. And every Saturday morning, he still went to his roadside spot in Maraba, set up his tarpaulin, arranged his tools, worked until noon. Sometimes he charged nothing for the Okada man or the bread seller, because he never wanted to forget where he came from.
because staying humble is how you stay sharp. As for Emeka, he had left the neighborhood. Some said he went back to Enugu. Nobody knew for certain. Tunde didn't hate him. When people asked, and some did, Tunde would say, he was desperate. Desperation makes people do things they wouldn't normally do. I don't know his full story, but I hope he finds his way. Because what he did, stealing my story, it didn't build his story, it only delayed mine. And that is the truth this story carries. You can steal a man's opportunity. You can take his words. You can wear his name. But you cannot steal what he knows. You cannot steal what he is. Because real skill, deep, hard-won, self-built skill, does not disappear when it's overlooked. It waits, it grows, and it always finds its way to the surface. Always. If this story spoke to you, if you are somewhere out there, working hard, being overlooked, wondering if your time will ever come, let Tunde's story remind you of something. Your skill is yours. Nobody can take it. Your time is coming. Don't stop building. And whatever you do, never let bitterness turn you into Emeka. Stay like Tunde. Show up. Do the work. Let the work speak.
Thank you so much for watching this story. If this touched your heart in any way, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support this channel. More powerful stories are coming your way. Stay with me.